How's it going? Alright, so before we begin, let's begin in prayer. So in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Holy Father, please bless every single one of us. Bless us as we expand our borders. And as we expand our borders, please have your hand with me, with all of us. And help us, guide us to reach out our hand to you, just like how Peter did, as he let go of the boat and walked on the sea and reached out. And help us to avoid reaching out to the world, just like how Judas did, where he grabbed the coins instead of your heart. So, my name is Blake Gorman. I am a senior studying biology. I am also the campus ministry intern. And my favorite color is blue. So, this week we are going to be continuing our series on the Prayer of Jabez. On the very first week, Renee opened us up with the phrase, "Oh, that you may truly bless me." And then Father Greg gave a talk about extending our boundaries. And during Renee's talk, two main points that she really zoned in on is how God is just waiting to bless us. He's waiting for each one of you to be open to receive his blessings. And then also, blessings can be found in the most unexpected places. And then two main points from Father Greg's talk was, getting out of your comfort zone, stepping outside of your boundaries. And then the best way to spread God's word is through authentic friendships. So tonight, I am going to be talking about, may your hand be with me. Now, whenever I first heard about this topic, I immediately just reflected on my entire life and just kind of thought about how God's hand was with me every step of the way. And I remember there was a particular night where I surrendered my life to God. And ever since then, my life has been abundant with blessings. But before I talk about this night, I really want to just talk about the word surrender. Here in today's culture, today's society, surrender has such a weak meaning behind it. If you surrender, you're weak. But in all honesty, in all honesty, this is what surrender really means. It's to agree to stop fighting, hiding, resisting, etc., because you know that you will not win or succeed. I really think that is smart. I mean, if you know that you're not going to win, obviously, you're going to have to surrender. Or, etc., etc. I digress. So, yeah, it's not only smart, but it's also, in a sense, being honest with yourself. You're being honest with yourself and realizing that you can't necessarily take on whatever you're taking on alone. And it's also an act of bravery. An act of bravery of surrendering to an opposing force or to another being that you don't fully understand. So, there's going to be, you can take that down. There's going to be there's going to be one point in your life, if it hasn't already come, where you will have to choose to surrender. And it's just a matter of who are you going to surrender to, or what are you going to surrender to. In my personal life, on that night that I was referring to earlier, I had the choice of either surrendering to the world or surrendering to God. And I mean, before that night, I was pretty much in the world. You know, my entire testimony could literally be summed up in this phrase. I was trying to look for eternal happiness in such a temporary world. And, you know, that just led me to like emptiness. You know, there was never any fulfillment in my life. So one way that I was trying to find happiness in my life was through mundane successes. You know, trying to be successful, you know, as far as grades, extracurriculars, you know. My freshman year of college, I actually went to the University of North Georgia, which it's recognized as a senior military college. A senior military college is a step down from a United States Service Academy. So, yeah, there's not very many of these senior... Anyways, I was part of the ROTC program at University of North Georgia. Yeah, I didn't want to rant about military, but whatever. So, yeah, I was in the ROTC program at University of North Georgia. And I was also in an extracurricular through ROTC, and it was just an intense mountaineering warfare specialty unit. And in the meantime, I was just trying to make as many friends as possible. All of these things being involved with, I was doing it for my personal image, my self-image. You know, I wanted people to look at me and say, wow, that kid is successful. He has his act together. Because there was a point in my life where I didn't. So, but all this, where this led me was to emptiness and just being scared. You know, emptiness, as I was talking about earlier, like, you know, having these mundane successes, like, it never satisfied me. You know, I just wanted to get better and better and better. And honestly, like, it was a mess. So this fear, and this like emptiness kind of just followed me throughout my freshman year of college. And it actually followed me back here at home in Missouri. So I flew home one summer after my freshman year of college. So whenever I flew home, I took this emotional burden with me. And that summer, I was actually working at a warehouse, about 30 hours per week. And, you know, if you guys have ever worked in a warehouse, like, you're surrounded by, at least I was surrounded by, like, negative people. And that sense of negativity just kind of slowly just rubbed off on me. And before I knew it, like, I was starting to think negative towards myself. This thought of negativity eventually led me to have thoughts about ending my own life. And, you know, I started asking myself questions like, why should I live this life? Why should I live this life for me? Before I move on, I want to just say, like, if you guys struggle with any type of like mental illness, like mental stress or anything like that, like, I highly recommend that you guys check out the Zoo Counseling Center, or if you don't go to the Zoo, I'm sure Other colleges have something like that. Or we have campus ministry, and we have focus missionaries, Father Joseph, Father Rich, and you can also talk to me. So, there was hold on, I need a drink of water. So I was having these, there was one particular night where these thoughts of ending my own life really was at the all-time low. It was, I still remember it. I was driving home from work one night from the warehouse. And as I was driving on this windy road, and I just kept on having these thoughts of just like, I could just easily just jerk the wheel to the right. And just, no one would ever know. It could have happened same as an accident. And there was something that was holding me back. And at that time, I thought that was fear. But I'll soon realize it wasn't that at all. So I made it home, and whenever I got to my driveway, or whenever I pulled into my driveway, got out of my car, I just remembered just looking up and just seeing just stars all over the place. It was such a beautiful night, and I just was just so amazed by it. And I just stopped and just laid down on my driveway and just started just to contemplate things. And I started just thinking to myself, okay, what if I was, my life ended right there? How would it go down? And, as I was having these thoughts, there was one thought, that same thought that came to me, that same question I asked myself, why live my life? Why should I live this life? What good will it come out of it for me? What good will it come out of it for me? And I made the realization, I shouldn't live my life. I shouldn't live my life. I should live my life for others. And the perfect figure for that is right there. That's who I thought of immediately whenever I was how should I live my life for others? Fully dedicate my life for others. Well, it's right there. On the cross, Jesus Christ, he gave himself fully for you. And here was me. I was thinking of just ending my life because of me. But he did it for you. So that was the night whenever I wanted to surrender to God. And that was the night that I reached out my hand to him. I reached my hand out, and that's whenever I realized, all the way up to that point, he was there. For example, driving home from work, he was there holding my steering wheel, straight and steady. Whenever I got out of my car, he was the one that pointed up to the sky. He was the one that made me look up at the stars. He was there, whispering in my ear, asking me these questions. And he was there to pick me up. So, I wanted to surrender, but I just didn't know how. But I knew what I had to do first was get myself out of this hole, out of that hole. And, I started, I ended up telling my parents about what was going on with me. I ended up finding help, and I ended up actually getting better. Though I do still struggle with it at times. So that following year, my sophomore year at University of North Georgia, that's a tongue twister. It used to be North Georgia College and State University. That's just ridiculous. Anyways. So that next year, I was just doing everything that I possibly could do to cultivate my faith, to just watch my faith skyrocket. I started going to daily mass as much as possible. Reconciliation once a month. The weekly praise and worship, and adoration as much as possible. And I found this joy. I found that eternal happiness. It wasn't in the world. It was in Jesus Christ. And all I had to do was take his hand. But I didn't know how to fully surrender my life to others until that following summer. So, who's been to Steubenville? Yeah. So what Steubenville is, it's pretty much this huge conference that happens throughout the nation where, I don't know, how many teams usually go? 5,000 or something? Yeah, so there's 5,000 teens, high schoolers, in this auditorium or stadium or whatever, and they're just all praising and worshiping God and just listening to various talks and whatnot. And there was a particular night at Steubenville where they had adoration. And whenever the Blessed Sacrament came out during adoration, I was looking down at it, at Jesus, as Jesus was coming out. And I heard this voice in my head saying, "Come follow me. Come follow me. Come follow me." And then all of a sudden, this overwhelming desire of just being down there, holding the monstrance, holding the vessel of Jesus Christ, partaking in the Mass, hearing reconciliation, celebrating the sacraments, just overwhelmed me. An overwhelming desire for me to join the priesthood just took me over. And now I would like to say that I'm currently undergoing the application process of becoming a Dominican friar, something similar to Father Joseph and Father Rich. So, yeah, you can clap. So, you may be asking yourself, okay, why did this dude just tell me his testimony? And the reason why I told this to you wasn't to, get attention or self-pity or whatever. It was to help you realize how Jesus guides each and every single one of us on such a variety of paths. That was my path. You're on a path too, and it's your path. And there will be a time, if the time hasn't occurred, where you will have to make that decision to surrender. To surrender your entire life, or if you've already surrendered your entire life, you're going to have to re-surrender. You're going to have to surrender over and over and over again, every single day. You know, it's not a one-time deal. It's not a one-time deal. That's a common misconception. This is a daily thing. And whatever it may be, you know, there's actually, you know, I've been struggling with this lately, being in ministry and whatnot. I've had this idea that I have to carry the world on my shoulders. I'm sure there's a majority of you people that have that same idea. You know, we all have to do this, do that, you know, academics, get 4.0 GPA. You know, I identify myself as a biology major. You know, that's not the case. That's not you. Give that to God. Surrender that to God. Every day, tell yourself, you know, whatever exam, whatever test you have, just say, I'm going to do my best. The rest is in your hands. The rest is in your hands. So, let's end in prayer. Lord, Father, and Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, Jesus, help us to reach out for you. And I just ask that you take everyone in this room and just guide them. Help them to reach out their hand to you so you can help them to find that source of eternal happiness. And we intercede through our beloved Mother as we take these prayers, every single one of our prayers, bundle them up in our robes, and lay them down at Our Lady's feet.